Alrighty, everyone. Happy Thursday afternoon here, February 8th, 2024. Appreciate you guys for joining in here on YouTube. TikTok will get to you guys here. We'll do your video here in just a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and jump into this really quickly because we do have a severe weather threat today, guys. We have a severe weather threat up in the northern Midwest for the first time this year, actually. A marginal risk of severe weather has been presented today for southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and eastern Iowa, the most eastern part of Iowa. We got a low pressure system up here spinning up here in Minnesota, and what this is doing is helping kind of set up like a little dry line setup, a little bit of forcing, a little bit of instability, a little bit of precip possible. Could see some showers and some storms, some severe storms today here west of the Great Lakes area. Milwaukee, you're in that. Chicago, you're in that. Davenport, you're in that. Rockport, you're in that as well. But we're watching this. You can see the spin here actually on the reflectivity. That'll be pushing eastwards here over the next 4 to 5 hours. We'll have a chance for a couple severe storms to pop up if the dew points and if the instability allows it. And I'll zoom in over here for you guys really quickly. Here in the Madison area, Milwaukee, you're in this. Rockford, you're in this. Peoria, you're in this. Clinton, Chicago, all of Chicago. Gillette is in this. We've got, so zoom in a little bit more here. Aurora's in this. Hammond's in this. Evanston, Illinois. So most of these are going to be for southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois, and a little bit of northwestern Indiana here. We'll watch and see if we get any of these potential, maybe an isolated severe storm or two if these move off the Great Lakes. And we get a little bit more of potentially maybe some refiring of some storms. We'll watch that later on, but very small area of interest today for severe weather. We'll go ahead and time this out for you guys so we can see this. We do have a 2% chance of seeing a tornado in this area in a 25-mile radius of a given point, a 5% chance in the damaging wind threat category, and a 5% chance in the hail category. So everything's to the most lowest possibility, but the question is, this could be a boom or bust situation, and if we get any storms to fire off in this sector today, with the dew points being very low, it's going to be a little bit hard to get that thunderstorm activity to get going. But anything that does fire off this afternoon with a little bit of instability could potentially go tornadic. We have some pretty strong southwesterly winds along with this low pressure system that are actually going to help potentially spin up some tornadoes here. We'll watch it clearly and see what happens this afternoon. It's like I said, it's a 2-hour window. It's really going to be from about 5 p.m. to 7, 8 o'clock this afternoon. So 2 to 3 hour window that we could get that. And you can see the dew points here on the future cast potentially. Dew points are not that high. We're dealing with dew points anywhere from 52, 53. The further north you go, they go lower. So like I said, right here, just in the Chicago area, south of Rockford area here in Illinois is the area that I would be more focused on potentially for those storms to actually kind of fire off. And I don't really see them potentially too bad in there into southern Wisconsin, but we'll watch it. As far as this goes on the hourly forecast, well, here we go with this. Currently, right now, it is pretty quiet. That line will start to develop maybe an isolated shower storm north of Madison. But like I said, guys, very small area here. But any of these storms that do potentially form this afternoon could potentially go severe. I would have thought that the National Weather Service, with the tornado conditions we've got favorable today, would have upgraded this to maybe a slight risk. They might still do that. There still is time here. We'll get another update in about 2 hours. There could be a little yellow shading potentially if these storms continue to show on some of the shorter range models what we can. So we'll be watching this, but that tornado potential is there in the Midwest and North Midwest today. Those storms fire off here in the Peoria area, go towards Chicago, Aurora. Chicago will be on hands for potentially a small tornado risk today, and then this will move out of here by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight, and then we could see maybe some stronger storms here once these cross the Great Lakes into the Grand Rapids area, South Bend area up here in Michigan. We'll watch that tonight if that does become a potential possibility here. But as that goes, that's all the severe weather we've got today. Everywhere else is pretty dry. We got some showers and some storms here into the Four Corners. That'll be our next storm system that pops off to potentially bring us a bigger severe weather event this weekend. And we're actually going to go ahead and go talk about that. We have a couple winter storms that are going to be possible. We do have severe weather again, potentially for this weekend. As of right now, nothing for the Friday, Saturday time frame. But if we go over here to the day 4 outlook, we do have a slight risk of severe weather here once again, and this is a very common area. We've done nothing but cover the Gulf of Mexico this year. But once again, here in eastern Texas and south central Louisiana, this includes College Station, this includes Sugar Land, Houston, Huntsville, Texas. We've got Beaumont as well, Lake Charles, Louisiana now, Lafayette, New Orleans, you're in this as well. And this is just the slight risk. So I would think the marginal risk would kind of extend something out like this a little bit more. We'll get that into Mississippi as well. Southwestern Mississippi is into this risk zone. Natchez in this as well. So the hazards for this are not quite identified categorically right now, but we do already have a tornado risk in place. We will have a low to moderate southwesterly flow with this severe threat on Sunday to see what's going to go on with this. The damaging wind threat will be there. The hail threat will be there potentially as well. A small threat, hail threat, I should say. But let's go ahead and let's knock over here. Let's go to the let's go to our weather models here, and we can actually talk about this a little bit more for you guys. This is the European run. This is actually valid as of right now. This just got updated, so we can go to our map here and we can look at the low pressure system that's going to be causing some snow up here into the South Dakota, North Dakota area. We've got some rain and some storms that are going to be forming off here with that severe little marginal risk of severe weather here in the Great Lakes as this pushes forward east. Got a lot of cold air damming behind this here that'll lock in and bring us some below average temperatures next week. We'll be talking about that later on as well. And then we will watch. We do have a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow here, pretty much for most of the Ohio Valley, all the way down here to eastern Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. We could see maybe a marginal risk of severe weather for potentially Kentucky, Tennessee, and maybe Arkansas and Illinois. We'll watch that closely for tomorrow's update once we get that to come out. But as of right now, just a general thunderstorm activity here for your Friday. This will build. We'll get some more rain. This will move into the North Carolina mountains, Tennessee mountain line there tomorrow night. And then we get into Saturday. And Saturday potentially could have a couple more rounds of storms here into southern Kentucky. Sorry, I did the wrong thing there. Southern Kentucky could see some showers and some storms here. Once again, Tennessee as well. We got our new storm system that'll be causing our severe weather threat down here on Sunday. This low pressure system that is actually popped up right here. We got some snow showers with this. We've got some warm air sinking and rising here into the Gulf of Mexico. And as we go through our Saturday, Sunday time frame here, we'll load this in. We can clearly see we do have a heavy rain swath, or a swath of heavy rain here potentially. I don't think Saturday we're going to have much of any severe weather. I think this is strictly going to be just heavy rainfall here for Louisiana and Arkansas, eastern Texas as well potentially. This will kind of just skirt up the southeast here in a diagonally northeast fashion. We'll get rain and storms into Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama. Could see a couple isolated severe storms maybe somewhere up here where the heating of the day is. And then we really get to Sunday, and Sunday is going to be that severe weather conversation, the bigger day, I would say, at this point. We got snow here on one side of the trough developing, like I said, cold air filtering in. Very, very cold area here taking in over the Midwest as well starting Sunday. We've got our 50s and 60s down here, very, very high dew points as well. So this will set the stage once again for that tornado, damaging wind, and hail threat on our Sunday where that slight risk is at. And we could see a couple storms be severe here. We'll have more on this forecast throughout the weekend. Potentially another thing I will note for everybody, I will not be going live more than likely this weekend as well. I will be down visiting in North Carolina with my family and friends, so I will not be able to potentially go live. If we do, it would be maybe Saturday night if there is anything going on, or Sunday night. We'll kind of see what happens. But we could, another thing, not just the severe weather here in the slight risk area in the southeast, but we are going to be watching for some heavy snowfall, guys, here in the panhandle of Texas, Arkansas, maybe getting some ice here a little bit, and then Oklahoma could see some pretty good chances of a couple inches of snow here. This will ride up. You'll get your, like I said, your severe sector, your strong storms to be somewhere here into the, I did not mean to do that. You'll get your severe storms to set up on potentially Sunday night into Monday here in the southeast. We could be watching the panhandle of Florida. We could be watching Georgia, Alabama potentially, maybe even into South Carolina a little bit on Monday for some severe storms. But we'll watch this cold air sink in out of Canada here, and this will kind of ride up in the northeast. We could see some snow showers start into Missouri as soon as Sunday night and into early Monday morning. And then that snow swath goes into central Illinois, southern Illinois, Indiana, a little bit of southern Kentucky there. Not too worried about Kentucky, I think, with the snowfall right now. And this will skirt into the northeast. And there's still a lot of discrepancy with the model runs on what's going to happen starting next Monday and Tuesday. But we could see a pretty good chance of some heavy snowfall in northern PA in general, New York, Massachusetts, Delaware, Maine, potentially getting into some snow. If this develops off the coastline here, you get your nor'easter effects to happen. You get a lot of wind with this. So we'll be watching this over the next couple of days, potentially for some snowfall for everybody. And then what happens next week is a bigger question mark too. It looks to me that we're going to be very, very below average for a lot of people here in the southeast. We'll be getting back to average to below average here in the Midwest. We'll be seeing our colder temperatures, or more of our winter feels like temperatures start to come back again. And then next weekend, we could look at another potential severe weather threat that develops down in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll have more on that throughout next week. Don't want to jump the gun too much on these. Let's go to our jet stream really, really quickly here, and we'll talk about that, what that severe weather threat looks like again. A positively tilted trough here that forms in the Rockies here in the Four Corners. Positively tilted troughs don't typically bring too much severe weather. They can, but we look for more of a negatively tilted trough to have a bigger severe weather event. But we are, like I said, going to have a pretty decent southwesterly flow down here into the Gulf states, and that's why that slight risk is placed down here. Could see maybe a marginal, or not marginal, but enhanced drifts if conditions get more increasing confidentiality wise. We'll be watching that. And then this goes into the northeast. We get our snowstorm. And then through next week, it looks pretty dry, but you can clearly see out of the north here, out of Canada, this cold air being filtered in from this northern jet stream. And this will dip down here in the southeast into the Midwest. Like I said, we'll get a lot of below average temperatures. We'll look at the temperature forecast here in just a minute as well. This will go down, like I said, into next week, and this should be in place for a majority of February until we get, I think, closer to the last week of February is when things will change again on that trend here. And let's actually really, really quickly here, let's go look at the climatological temperature models here in our 8 to 14 day forecast. Let me get rid of this. Our 8 to 14 day forecast has pretty much everybody in the United States, with the exception of the West Coast, in a below average pattern. In the Southeast specifically, if you're in South Carolina, North Carolina, up the Northeast coastline here, very, very below average chances are going to be possible here. We're in that 60% chance above normal category for seeing below average temperatures. So if you're in the blue, typically average to below average is where we're going to see most of the United States. This is valid all the way until February 21st. And if we go past that point, as far as our temperatures, the 3 to 4 week temperature outlook right now still has a lot of people down in the southeast and into the Gulf states below average, with the west coast and central United States starting to warm up a little bit. So that just means when we get to March, typically we'll vice versa and switch this potentially again. But with that, guys, let's go check another thing here as well. Let's go to the 850 millibar wind here. This is the low levels of the atmosphere to kind of see what kind of spin we're dealing with. And like I said, for today's severe weather threat up there in the Midwest, we do have a pretty decent low level jet here, about 50 knots, 50 plus knots here in the lower levels. So if any of these storms that do fire off today go severe, they can produce some decent sized wind, some hail, and obviously some tornadoes potentially as well. If we were to get anything with that, that will be where that's at. And then as we get into the weekend here, that Saturday and Sunday time frame, it does not look, like I said, that impressive as of right now for Saturday and Sunday. But Sunday, there we go. There's our southwesterly winds around 30 to 40 knots. So a decent sized low to moderate, or more of a weaker tornado threat potentially as of right now starting to develop. So we'll watch this potentially in more of a bigger widespread tornado risk zone on Monday as we go into the deeper part of the southeast here. We'll watch that closely for you guys. If we get any more risk zones added, we'll be on top of that. Our dew points, so what we need basically to fuel these thunderstorms, to get thunderstorms, you have to have high dew points typically, and we are going to have them. The whole Gulf Coast down here in the 50s and 60s, upper 60s, could see maybe a 70 or two as the storm system pushes through, and so we'll be watching that. And then we start to settle into these below average temperatures, and so that'll keep most of the United States dry through most of next week potentially as we go along with that. And then another thing we're going to look at here is the instability in the atmosphere. This is what these storms need to go severe, and you can clearly see today we've got our severe instability here, 500 joules per kilogram, right about maybe 1,000 in some areas here in the Midwest to get that severe weather set up for today. And then we are starting to see some more instability potentially over Friday night here. So we're going to have to watch for maybe an isolated severe storm or two in southern Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, maybe eastern Texas on Friday night and a Saturday. And then look down here on Saturday night and Sunday, guys. I think we could maybe see some type of severe weather setup maybe Saturday night. There's not a risk zone yet. It's kind of speculating at this point. But we could potentially see something here as well on Saturday. And then this will shift off to the east, northeast here. We'll get our instability for our severe weather setup on Sunday, and then potentially maybe something even into Monday, with instability actually increasing now a little bit further towards the Tennessee and the Georgia state line. So maybe a pocket of severe storms potentially here. This is just kind of one model run, but we'll closely watch this throughout the weekend here as this system pushes off to the east as we get that snowstorm as well into the Northeast as well. But other than that, guys, that's what I've got for you guys as weather. We do have a new addition here to the stream channel. We now have a website. My significant other, Rochelle here, she has been working her butt off on getting our my website published and put up, to where we have merch that is active now as well, guys. We've got a donation page as well set up for anybody that wants to donate. I'll scroll through this here so everybody can kind of see this. Instagram, obviously, YouTube, TikTok, all that is linked on here. We do most of our live streams on TikTok. We'll start to talk about this more every day that I pretty much post these videos. But for everybody that wants to go buy merch, we've got hats, we've got hoodies, we've got pretty much every size for every person that needs one. T-shirts are running anywhere from $16 up, $5 for shipping there, and then in the hoodies, they're going to be a little bit more because they're Champions brand hoodies. But they're very, very nice. $35 for those plus the shipping, and then the hats will be $20. And we'll be looking to add more merch. So if you guys have feedback on that, feel free to email us. The email is at the bottom as you're doing this here. Make sure you guys read the directions very, very carefully on here. It's a little bit more of a different merch setup process than most other people have. So, but other than that, guys, if that is what we've got for y'all, I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm gonna go over here and post this video on TikTok as well. That way we get that up there and going as well. But if you guys will, as always, like the video and subscribe, we're trying to push that magic number of 500. Um, Other than that, guys, I appreciate y'all for watching. Everybody stay safe. We'll have another update for you guys later on. And thank you guys for watching.